Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the simplest sports fantasy game on the market. You can pick from multiple sports platforms. Get this, sign up using the code ASU and Prize Picks will 100% match your initial offer up to $100. Download the app for free at the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. Well, the dust is settled, and we've had time to evaluate these draft selections. I'm going to cut right to it. Terrence, how do you feel about the Falcons draft?
Remember a while back, we talked about what they did in free agency and what they were doing in the offseason, the kind of roster they were building, and how successful we thought with what we said this roster was going into the draft. And then I says, well, let's talk about it more. And this draft will answer more questions for us for which direction we're trying to go in and who we're trying to be as a offense, defensive, and special teams scheme wise. And I thought this draft was I think you did well. You didn't knock it out the park, but you did well. As everyone knows that has been tuning in to us, I really thought they were going to get an edge rusher. I really thought Nolan Smith was going to be the guy. I was wrong. I can admit it. I was wrong. I was shocked that they didn't draft Nolan Smith at 8. I wasn't shocked, them getting Robinson, running back from Texas. I was not shocked there. I wasn't. Let me take it back. I wasn't disappointed because you got a marquee player. You got one of the top 10 players in the NFL draft. My question was, okay, I thought we had a lot of running backs, but the more and more I look at Robinson, listen to his coaches, his high school coaches, his college coaches, players that played with him, players that played against him, players that have, former players that are analysts now that have broken it down to me where I can see it clearly is that he's like a Christian McCaffrey. He's a bigger, more powerful Christian McCaffrey. If you think about it, he can play in the slot, he can play out wide, he can play deep in the backfield, 8 yards deep, catch a pitch. He can do a number of things. And that type of talent you just cannot pass up. And I think it's going to help us. It's going to make that meeting room interesting. Someone has to go. I don't know who it is, but someone has to go in that meeting room. But I think they did a fine job of putting skilled guys together. Here's the thing. The drafting of Robinson took the pressure off of Desmond Ridder. We're not talking about Desmond Ridder anymore about, oh, can he do it? Can he do it? Well, we're talking about all the weapons around him. Yeah. Ridder, London, Pitts, Allgeier, Robinson, Smith. We're talking about those guys right now, all the talent around him, and then the experienced offensive line. So I thought we did a really good job with that pick. Then we went on to the second pick and we traded up.
Well,
we traded up.
Before you moved on to that one, I just had a few questions about the first. When you were watching it, your initial reaction when you saw Robinson, were you like, especially with Jalen Carter still sitting there and Nolan Smith sitting there, did it catch you off guard? Like
it did. It was like, you was looking for the right hand, but he hit you with the left hand.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, did he just hit me with the left hand? But then I sat back and went, maybe they gonna wait and hope that these two guys, we're talking about Nolan Smith and Keon. Was it Keon?
It was Jalen, but we had a third guy, Keon White. And I think you're about to get that because you can pick up there. You said we traded up to 2.
We traded up 2, and I said, "Oh, we're gonna get that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that." Now, when we traded up and got Bergeron, I got snuck with an uppercut. I said, "Oh my God, not that." I said, "Wow, I got a left hook and then a Tyson uppercut." And I got staggered a little bit and I says, "Okay, all right." But you got to remember in my mock draft, I had an offensive tackle going in the first 3 picks for us anyway.
Right.
So I was like, okay, all right. But when you traded up, you thinking, "Whoo, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah." But um, and it's funny because I was talking to my wife. I said, you know what? It doesn't matter what we think. We could do mock drafts all day and hope for this and hope for that. I said, they know more than what we know
Mhm.
because they on the inside and they know what they need. So I can't get upset with the picks um, so far in the first 2 rounds. I was like, okay, all right, you're gonna need a tackle. Uh, you got a dynamic running back. We're doing good. We're doing good. We're doing good. We're solid right now. That's what I kept saying to myself. Oh, we're just picking solid. We're not trying to make woo, that
Yeah.
that type of movement. So I was like, okay, we're good.
So then we come into the third round and we finally draft the
Yes,
edge, Zach
yes,
Harrison from Ohio
yes,
State.
yes. And I think here's the thing. If I'm Harrison and if I'm the defensive coach, the defensive coordinator, is this: he wasn't one of the the guys that everyone was talking about in this draft.
Right.
So there's no pressure for you to go out there and perform at a high level because you wasn't a Georgia guy that got you wasn't uh, Cook, you wasn't some of those wasn't the guy from Texas Tech, so you kind of snuck into the third round, and here's a chance for you to go into camp with not a whole lot of lights on you. So
Right.
you can go in there and be comfortable, learn the system, and play lights out and let people start to see your play gradually instead of having all that attention on you from day one. So I think, coming from the Big Ten, coming from powerhouse of like Ohio State, I think it was a really good pick for us.
All right. Fourth round. And it's funny because the fans, like you said, we can't. The fans can't control. The media can't control any
Mm.
of it. We all got our opinions,
Right.
but you could tell on Twitter that people felt a certain way that Falcons didn't go the way they thought. So then when they
Hmm.
started drafting defensive guys, you'd see stuff like, "Are y'all happy now?" They're drafting defensive guys. So in round
Right.
4, they got another cornerback, Clark Phillips III from Utah.
Right. I thought that was a great pick. I thought that was me personally. I thought that was the diamond in the rough that they
Mhm.
found, and I think they were happy. They were over the moon that he was sitting there in the fourth round. I think this is a guy that is a playmaker. Uh, he's physical. When he does make plays, he take them back for touchdowns. He scores points
Mhm.
for you. And I think it's just played in a conference where he's seen a lot of balls thrown to him, so he's NFL ready. Um, and you had to pick this because I think the Falcons knew that we that the I can't well I always forget his name, the corner from Detroit that we
Akuda.
just picked up.
Akuda.
And yeah, we probably didn't know, or they already knew that they weren't going to get that 5th year option out of him. So he's going to be a free agent after this year. So you may lose him in free agency if he has a good year. So this pick was right on time for the Falcons. Now you can gradually get this guy playing time, and Akuda can move into play, nickel for you if you need to. So you got 3 good cornerbacks on your roster right now. One of them is a rookie that I really feel good about.
Yeah, and he was a Jim Thorpe Award finalist this past
Yes,
season for Utah as
yes.
well. Um, so, and as you said before, the Falcons made that trade. So in doing so, they gave up some of their later round picks. They did, however, have 2 7th-round picks: DeMarco Hellams from Alabama and Javon Gwynn from South Carolina, a guard. And Hellams played some special teams as well as he played on some defense as well. Um,
I think that was a solid pick again. I think that was one of those picks that in the next couple of years, you're going to say, wow, this kid was a seventh rounder, and he's playing at this level. He's come from a pedigree of defensive backs that come out of the University of Alabama. Head coach Nick Saban, who coaches defensive backs also. so
Mm-hmm.
he's been taught the NFL game from day one once he hit campus. Um, and it's always like those safeties from the University of Alabama. They always play well because they know the game, because they were taught the game for the 2, 3, 4 years they were there at Alabama. So I think this is an NFL ready safety that at some point, of course, he's going to help us special team wise, and I wouldn't be surprised in the next 2 or 3 years that he's going to be a starter for us.
Yeah, they also say that the second round pick Matthew Orjon, I'm sorry, I said Matthew Orjon. I forgot.
Bergeron.
Yeah, Bergeron. I'll get it right by the time you're playing, so don't worry,
Yeah,
Matthew. I
yeah,
apologize. But they say he could probably be a plug and play type of guy, be ready to start this season if need be. So that could be another a positive impact because we know Robinson's definitely running
yeah,
back one without
yeah,
a doubt.
yeah.
And
Well, here's the thing. He's going to be playing guard, right?
mhm,
Um, on the inside for us. Here's the thing. He could be a plug and play right away. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about what how I feel about offensive linemen. And when you're talking about a young quarterback, you have to make a decision right away, and it has to be the right decision. And you got to let those five guys gel together as quick as you can. You can't keep plugging, picking and pulling and
they
plugging,
did
pulling and
last season.
plugging. Yeah, because for a young quarterback, he's uncomfortable because you know one guy may give up pressure a
Mhm.
certain way, one guy may not give up pressure. So he's thinking, well, such and such in the game, I'm gonna have to get the ball off quicker. Or if such and such in the game, when I drop back, I got to move away from where he is because I know pressure is coming that way. That's extra things a quarterback has to think about. So who's ever going to be your starter in day one, get him ready now.
Right.
Don't wait till day one, then start plugging him for the first 3, 4 games because by that time your quarterback could be shell shocked. He
Mhm.
needs to be comfortable from day one, and so that means he has to be comfortable with that front five that's playing in front of him, so he knows exactly what he's getting.
And speaking of our quarterback, you know, for a while it was still kind of limbo, but we can say unequivocally that that door is shut now. Lamar Jackson signed a deal with the Ravens, and then the Falcons had Levis sitting there. Will Levis sitting there at 8, and they chose Robinson. So they had an opportunity at one of these
Yeah,
young quarterbacks they worked out, and they
yeah,
passed on them as well. So Ritter is going to be the guy,
yeah. And I think uh, deservingly so. I
right?
mean, for you to pull Mariota and put him in to play him the last 4 games of the year, that means you thought highly of him. If you didn't think highly of him, you wouldn't have done that. So I think he deserved a chance to show what he can do. Um, and it's we're not starting all over. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, he's been around for a year. He's been in the system for a year. He's been in games. He's been live action for 4 games. So he's going into now he gets to play 2 preseason games and then get ready to play. So, I know you say is preseason, but now he's gonna have, he had the preseasons prior, whatsoever. So he has some field experience now, and going into week one, I'm comfortable and confident that he's going to play well.
Yeah, I'm as well. I'm very excited to see with all the weapons that he already has, and like you said, with Robinson now, that'll
Yeah,
take off so much pressure. I mean, you still have Allgeier who broke a Falcons
right,
rookie rushing record. So
right,
again, we don't have no slouches in that backfield. And
right.
whatever they
Not at all.
decide to do with Cordarrelle Patterson,
Yeah,
me personally, I think we discussed it. I hope he could stay with the team. Maybe they move him as a receiver.
right.
Maybe that's his role because the receiving room, we're still kind of thin on there. I don't know if that was going to be my next question. Do you think this is the team that we're sending to training camp? Are we going to add any more additions, do you think, prior to camp?
I think mini camp is going to determine that.
Okay.
Once they go through mini camp, I think you're going to the receiver position right now is the focal point of everybody's eyes of, okay, do we have enough? Are we deep enough?
Mhm.
Are we explosive enough? So I truly think that there's going to be eyes on in mini camp for at that position. But I think I thought they would go out. That that meeting room is so young. It
Yeah.
is really, really young. And I think you do need a veteran guy that has played at a high level, that's have some championship pedigree. I don't know where he is to come in and help cultivate that room. So, I'm not picking on who they choose as coach for this position whatsoever,
Mhm.
but you just need a guy that knows that gets it, that understands it for a young group of guys that you're coaching. But I wish him well at that position. Hopefully, with what you said, we got Patterson, we got Robinson, we got Smith, we got Pitts, we got London. I mean, we're gonna be fine offensively if we just if the defense gives us the ball as much as we think they're gonna give us the ball, we just got to capitalize on it.
And speaking of that defense, like going back to the first pick, fans that were maybe defending the Robinson pick would say, "Hey, we signed a lot of defensive free agents. We filled Terry and Arthur filled those needs, so that's why they went with a running back." Now you've
Right.
got people on the other end that may say, "Hey, those defensive guys we signed are older and some of them are role players. Why didn't they draft a Jalen Carter, a Nolan Smith, or a Keon White there?"
Well, here's the thing. I think they're done with free agencies on the defensive side of the ball. I
Mhm.
think they did a good job, and like you said, and a lot of fans say, and I say it too, they are older, but I think they did what they did so they can rotate. I
Mhm.
think so
I
they can
agree.
stay fresh, and I think that's the whole premise of it all. And I think they wanted some guys with some championship pedigree in there to help cultivate that defensive side of the ball, which they've done.
Mhm.
Um, you got to understand, and I don't want to look ahead. You still maybe got another 2 or 3 years out of a couple of these guys, so someone is going to be available next year draft. So I think that's a thought for them also. And then there's someone going to be available in free agent. So that's the thought there. I think they did well defensively in the free agent market, and I still think this is a top 10 defense going into the season.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they can put on the field. I'm excited to see mini camp and get our first look at some of these players. Um, I know you may have heard about the whole number thing with Robinson. It's not a big deal, but I was just curious, like your player number, was it important to you that you had a specific number? Because what happened is Koo, who was number 7,
Uh-huh.
gave that up to Bijan Robinson, whose number was 5, but apparently Drake wanted to keep his number 5. So now Robinson will be number 7. And
Hmm.
Koo, I guess, has to pick whatever number. And apparently the only single digit number is number 2.
Hmm.
So
Well, I mean,
does a number matter to you personally?
when I came in as a rookie, they gave me a number, and the number they gave me is stuck with me.
Yeah.
So, you're just happy to be there, and whatever the number is, the number it is, I guess. But I guess when you're the eighth pick and overall in the NFL draft, you want a certain number,
Yeah.
and they want to accommodate you. So, I it's when I went to Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
I wore 88. I didn't. Somebody else was wearing 81. I didn't ask for 81.
And I was so
I
you
didn't
didn't
say, hey,
ask for it or
yeah, I
talk
didn't
about
ask for it.
it. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't ask for it. So and then he got the guy got released, during the preseason, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna stay with 88. I didn't go to 81. It didn't matter. The number really didn't matter to me. Um, but at the end of the day, as you see, in my house, wherever I go, I'm still known as 81.
Right.
And I love that number, especially like my little gnome. I
Yeah.
got this as a gift this week
That's
and
fire.
from a young lady named Heather. And I was like, this is pretty awesome. Arms move. Look at them big old arms. Look,
That's
got my
awesome.
jersey cut. Look at the name. This is an actual jersey actual jersey. actual game pants that
Wow,
she put on this. So this was pretty cool. This I got home yesterday. This was sitting on my counter, and I was like, wow.
that's awesome.
So so I'm always gonna be known as 81. So, but it really doesn't matter. My son is all caught up into numbers and whatsoever. I said, well, the number don't play for you. You
Right.
play. So, at the end of the day, but Robinson should, hey, you picked him number 8. Hey, if he wants a number and you want to get and the player that's wearing it want to give it to him, hey, take it.
I want to. It's a little off topic as far as the Falcons, but I want to try to put some of these Falcon fans slash dog fans at ease with the Philadelphia Eagles taking 2 Georgia Bulldogs last year, and I think 3 this year. 2 in the first round. Do you think that's a good situation where a team they've got these amount of guys from a college team they can work well, maybe play at this elite level, or is it still, hey, just because they were elite in college doesn't mean they're all going to be elite in the pros?
Well, here's the thing. You take players from the number one team
Hmm.
with the number one defense, the number one conference, your chances of winning games is going to be great. You put them around a team that was number one in their conference, number one in their division, and tops in the top 5 defensively. Around those veterans that they have in that front 7, you can't help but to play better. So they're around some veterans that's going to mold them, tell them how we do things in Philly, and they're gonna excel when it's their time to step in. When it's time the torch is passed to them, they're gonna be ready to play because they've already come from a winning pedigree of football, and now they're going into another environment that is accustomed to winning
Yeah.
and want to win. uh, they're in a good situation, and I think that they're going to thrive in that situation. I think it's a good situation for them because now you got it's about what 5 or 6 of them that have played together
Yep.
that's on that defensive team. I think it 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 becomes a fun bunch. Now they say, hey, they're gonna have fun together because they know each other. When they get on the field together, they're gonna be flying around because they got think about it, they have something to prove because those in the locker room are saying, hey, oh, just because y'all from Georgia, y'all won 2 national championships, that don't mean you're gonna come in here and take my job. And so, there's pressure on them to perform, but there's guys in that locker room that is performing at a high level, all pro bowl level, that can teach them, hey man, take your time. This is how we do things. When your time comes, be ready to go. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do defensively there in Philadelphia.
Well, and one last thing before we wrap it up, we were talking about receivers and veteran receivers, and there was a veteran receiver that was still out there, but now he's going to the team that drafted you. He's joining Aaron Rodgers in New York, Randall Cobb. What do you think
Mm-hmm.
about what the Jets are building up there? Because they are on the Falcons schedule this year. The Falcons do play the New York Jets in New York.
The New York Jets is one of the most talented teams in the NFL. Defensively, they are outstanding. Offensively, they have weapons across the board. All they needed was a guy that can facilitate, that can get this offense going, to make plays whatsoever, and they got that guy in Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers asked for a couple of guys, and he got them. So he's going to be comfortable. They're going to do well. They're going to get along. He knows the offensive coordinator. Um, the head coach loves him. He's already working out with the guys,
Yep.
and that's something new for him that he hasn't done in the last 2 or 3 years. So it's a new start for him, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. At the end of the day, I got a little jet green in me because that's the team that drafted me, and I
Right.
played there for 4 years. So I want to see them successful, and they're in the AFC, so don't worry, Falcon fans. They're not in the NFC with us, but I can root for an AFC team, and my AFC team is the New York Jets, and I'm gonna
Okay, I
root for them
respect
this year.
it.
Yeah,
So I could see if it was just a regular fan, you actually were
right,
drafted by the team, so
right,
that's
exactly,
you can do
exactly. Yeah,
that. Now, if you started talking about Ghost Steelers, now I might kind of look
Yeah,
at
yeah. Mm, I wasn't there long enough to really get that good. You know,
you. Hmm.
I love what they do as an organization. I love that city because they bleed black and gold. There's nothing else. There's no other jerseys from no other teams walking around there. There's nothing but Pittsburgh. There's the Pirates, the Penguins, or the Steelers. And I love it. I love that part of it. But I was just there and I had a cup of coffee and I went on my way.
What you got for us to end the show today?
I've said this, I think I've said this maybe a couple of years ago whatsoever, but I heard a sermon this past Sunday and it was about wealth and it was about money. And and I've said this plenty of times when I go out and speak publicly to organizations or to groups whatsoever. And here's the thing, and I believe this about money is that everything we own, from our house, our cars, our clothes, our jewelry, our bank accounts, whatsoever, I truly believe it's a loan from God. It's because we pray, we work hard, and we give our tithes and offering um, because we thank God for the blessings He's given us. Some of us don't do that, but at the same time, you got to understand this. And to make it simple, when I say everything is a loan from God, because everything that we do with what He has given us, if we do it in a good way as good stewards, He'll give us more.
Mhm.
Let me put it to you. If you go out and if you get a loan from a bank, and as soon as you get that loan and you spend it all, you don't put it where you need to put it, what you said you was taking the loan out for, you go out and buy all these expensive things whatsoever. Then when it's time for you to pay that loan back, you default in the loan. They're not giving you any more money.
Right.
That's the same thing with God. I done gave you all these things. How have you used it to help my kingdom? How have you used it to help your family? How have you used it to help others? Oh, things are bad for you right now, but you out there just throwing all the gifts that I gave you away and not appreciating it. And then you come to me and ask for more. How can I bless you if you don't do good with little things that I give you? And that's God. So take care of the little things that he gives you, and he'll bless you with bigger things.
Right on.
That's it.
Thank you as always.
Yeah.
Everyone, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Atlanta Sports Unlimited. Turn on those notifications. Everyone, have a great day.
Peace.